And I've got the way the straw poll question will be posed now, so I'll read it so y'all know. And like I said, we've considered a lot of different configurations.
Do you have copies of that?
This is the only one I've got and stuff. I'm sorry.
We just got them today.
It's actually will be on No Pickens tonight or tomorrow morning, and it will be coming out in the Pickens County Progress this week as well. I spoke with Dan Poole. With regards to the Pickens County School Tax Homestead Exemption, you'll have options to choose option 1 or option 2. Option 1 is to continue without change, leave in place the current law. Description: the current law provides that a homeowner who has a regular homestead exemption, reaches the age of 62, and has a gross income as defined in the current law of less than $25,000 for the entire household or the entire family. What we've looked at, and we've gotten multiple notes from other counties around the state who have changed their language to the language that's constitutionally better, which is the deed holder of record. That clarifies who the family is, because if you have a family of 5 people that live in a house and your children are working part-time at CVS or whatever, their name's not on the deed. So when a house sells, they receive no benefit from it. The spouse and the 2 spouses or the surviving spouse is the only person who is responsible for the taxes paid on that property. No one else should be. But the way the law was written, that was not clarified. If we were able to move in the direction to rewrite it and make the changes, we'll try and be more constitutionally aware of how it's worded. May apply for exemption from school property tax in the amount entirety of 100% of the assessed value of the property containing the residency, as long as you have the $25,000 cap. The school tax homestead exemption excludes both the ad valorem assessment for schools and any taxation on retiring school bonds. The second option is to continue with a study commission. Leave in place the current law as described in option 1 and establish a commission that holds forums to hear from citizens, businesses, Pickens County government, Pickens County schools regarding the existing senior exemption from school property tax, and shall forward to the Georgia General Assembly for the 2019 session recommendations on any desired changes to that exemption. The commission shall be appointed jointly by the Pickens County Republican Party and the Pickens County Democratic Committee. That is what will be the 2 options. Either leave it status quo, where you have a bureaucrat who decides who's in your family, who's in your household, and whether you're, if I have my way, this is my personal opinion, so I want to clarify that. If I walk in with my federal tax return and I lay it on the desk and I say I want to sign an affidavit, there should not be another question. Because the affidavit, my federal tax income is what my income is. Not whether I have a child living with me for 6 months who pays the cable bill. I've heard far too many seniors who have been disrespected in this process not to want to change the wording of this law. That's my personal opinion. A lot of younger people in this county may not have sat across from a table at Bojangles and heard an 80-year-old widow describe their situation, where they were $800 over the $25,000 limit because they sold some timber off their land. We can do better than that.
Thank you. Yes.
Are you saying then that instead of 3 items to be on this primary straw poll, it's only going to be 2 items, one of which is the current one and the other one is what you just read?
It is to form a commission.
What are our government officials doing? I mean, why are they doing this?
I'm not a government official.
I know you're not, but this is insane.
That would be a question for your seated commissioners, not something I can answer. They've been approached, and that's a question for them.
That's what they've come back with as of today.
They've not contributed at all to this equation.
Say that?
They've not contributed at all to this process.
Well, who wrote that?
The part of the executive committee of the Republican Party and Democrat Party set forth subcommittees to look at it and come up with the straw poll questions, which is what the Georgia Constitution allows. So,
And that's what these committees came back with?
We want to choose the second one. It was my understanding that there'd be 3, but since this is what they've come up with, I guess they combined it into 2 and 3 together. But we want the second one because that's, after the straw poll is when our work as members of Pickens Seniors for Change has to go to work.
and to answer that, sir, the reason that we word it this way, if we try to specify on the straw poll without clear legal language, then we're not doing our due diligence. We need to take input from all citizens in the county. We have a wealth of talented individuals in this county. We've got retirees in this county who've been CEOs of companies that have a larger budget than our entire county, and they're never asked their opinion on how things work. We can reach out to those people and come up with a plan that services the entire community.
See, they haven't drafted legislation yet, and I've written 2 tax proposal plans that drafted in that legal language. And Will has given it to the committees to look over.
Well, I guess my question is, what you just read to us is the result of what, some committees for the 2 parties
And
having gotten together and they came up with that? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
This is not hard and fast. This is not written in stone. It's just to see what people want. And
do you want to
we
stay
go
with
to
what
work.
there is, or do you want to work toward a change?
And what it is nothing. I mean, there's, what, 400 and something people, and because Roy Dobbs insists on saying that all members of the family means the entire household, you're not gonna get any help, and there's no COLA in that one. So, it's not gonna help anybody. And seniors continue to move out of the county. Well, I'll keep my website up, and they'll see that website, because anytime you type in the word Pickens, my website pops up. And they will see that there's no senior tax exemption. And I know a realtor, can't think of her name right now, she sells in Big Canoe, and she sells on both sides of the county, Dawson or Pickens. And she tells people, there's no senior tax exemption in Pickens. If you want an exemption, buy in the Dawson side of Big Canoe. So, we got a choice to make some changes.
I do have a couple of thoughts, and my name is Wendy Lau, and I was on the school board for 4 years prior to the last four before that. So I'm looking at your numbers, and I went through our budget in Pickens County, and I do get a little offended when people say that the school board spends too much money, because during those 4 years that I was on the board, we not once did we raise taxes. We broke our necks to cut people out of our school system. If people left, we didn't replace them. And there were a lot of upset people because the school system is the #1 employer in Pickens County.
And they're also the 5th highest paid in Georgia.
I understand that, but I see what those people, how much they work and what they're doing for our kids. And that's important to me.
Well, we're not trying to take that away from them.
I understand that, but hear me out. Give me a chance. I sat here and listened to everything you said, and I'm taking it all in. I'm not closed-minded, but I also know where we're at, and I've seen what it's done to other counties. And I went to a lot of meetings across the state where we met with other school board members, and there are other counties that are hurting because they've made some of the same mistakes. And so I'm very concerned that the only way we can figure it out is to try it out for 5 years. I disagree with that. I don't think that's a very smart idea.
Well, what do you suggest?
Well, I think that we can look at what people's home values are and we can see, because I'm looking at what you went through and you explained. So even when you cut this down, the part you didn't leave off, the part you left off is it's still 20% of seniors that have homes in our county, because you didn't take off the fact that all of those other people who are less than 62 live in homes where they're together as well. So no matter which way you cut it, it's still 20%. And the other thing is...
No, that's 20% means people, not homes. It's 20% population.
I hear you, but when you still
Not
say that it
homes.
is 80-20, when you take it down to homes, it's still 80-20 homes. Those same people.
No.
Yes, ma'am, it is. So if you have 30,000 people, and there's 2 people per homes, it's still 20% and 80%. No matter how you cut that, because you're cutting down the people who are less than 62 and making them 2 people to a home as well.
Well, even if that
The
was
percent
true,
doesn't change.
even if that was true, it would only up it 3 points, mil points. But it's not-
But you're saying it will only up at 3 points. But the other thing is, how many seniors only live in a $150,000 home? I know personally that in Big Canoe and Bent Tree, there are a lot of seniors that live in homes that are worth way more than $150,000.
That's the average that Daryl said.
That's the average across the whole county.
Yeah.
And there are people that live in this county that live in $20,000 and $30,000 homes. So I don't think that's accurate, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's why I told you, the information I needed to formulate a real figure does not exist.
It does exist.
No, it
We
doesn't.
have every person in this county, we know what their home values are. We can get that information if our county
But
wants to give it to
The
us.
age, there's no age.
We can find that out.
And I
You're
did.
telling me we can't find out I think it's a bad mistake to say we need to try this out for 5 years, because in 5 years, my son will already be out of high school in 5 years. A lot happens for a child. That's almost half of a child's education. 6 years is half of a child's
It's not gonna
education.
hurt the school system. The school
I
system will
disagree
get
with
their
you,
money.
ma'am, because I'm going to tell you that the things that you don't understand is how the school system budget works. First off, about 95% of what we manage on the school system has nothing to do with what happens locally. The state tells us how much we have to pay for an employee's, how much we pay for their taxes, and how much we pay for their benefits. We have no choice in that. They tell us how many students we can have to a classroom. So we have to hire as many teachers as it takes to fill those needs. Those are not negotiable. In 1 year alone, there was 1 year that I was on the school board, we had to figure out how to come up with $450,000 because the state increased how much it was going to charge us to pay for benefits for our employees.
Well, other counties make it, so Pickens can make it.
Well,
So what I get is that you have kids in school and you wouldn't get a tax exemption. So what you're saying is you're opposed to it because you're
no, ma'am,
afraid.
I never said I was opposed to it.
Well,
Do I think that it needs to be raised a bit? I think $25,000 is not a good figure. I know people who draw a pension and they would make more than $25,000.
Well,
And I
that's
think
gonna
they're
be in the
entitled to it.
studies. That's gonna be in the studies that we will do.
I hear you, but you're saying let's pass it and then let's study it. No, I mean, that's what Hillary Clinton said. Let's pass it and study it.
You're misunderstanding
So,
everything.
but you're not letting me finish either. So, in 4 years, we cut positions, we didn't raise taxes. I didn't hear you thank us for not raising taxes in those 4 years. I never met you. You never came and asked us
But it
anything
doesn't
about
matter.
taxes.
They did the backdoor tax increases.
No, ma'am, we did not. Let me explain
The
something
county
to you.
did.
Let me explain
They
something
raised
to
our
you.
assessment.
Let me explain something to you. First off, the school board has absolutely no control of fair market value.
That's true.
Do you know what happens? What happens is they go through and they assess your values and they come back to us and they tell us how much the value is, and we have to set our millage rate based on what we need and compare it to that. We have no way of knowing.
So what I'm hearing is there'll be a tax mill increase, maybe, if this gets passed, and you don't think it's fair that you gotta contribute more to your children's education than the little old lady?
I never said that I don't think it's fair. What I don't think is that it's short-sighted is what I think.
No.
Yes,
I
ma'am, it
don't
is.
agree with
It's
you.
very short-sighted because
This county's
educating
dying.
our students are important. And so if we don't have a good school system, people are not going to move here with young
I took
families.
this to the school board 2 years ago. I also took a copy of the OCGA law. Governing authority can do this tax exemption. Okay, the school board said, we're not the governing authority, can't help you. I took it to the commissioners. Oops, we're not the governing authority either, can't help you. So I went to Stephen Gooch. The school board don't want anything to do with this.
I can understand why.
So
I
they
can
won't
clearly
help.
understand why, because when we had all of the We had all the trouble from about 2005 until about 2012 where property values hit rock bottom. It was tough here.
We
It was
still
tough
need
on
a single
families
tax
here.
exemption for this county.
I don't disagree with you, but I do disagree with giving somebody an exemption if they're living in a house that's $200,000 or more. I disagree with
Well,
that.
that's not total exemption. It's just partial exemption.
Yeah, this is not a Cobb County.
This
I
is,
think
or
this is-
Gilbert,
Or
it's not,
Gilbert, this is not, you pay nothing and sell in, and I just moved, and she knows this, we just moved here from Cobb. Okay, so we paid nothing in school taxes when one person that was a deed holder turned 62. Didn't matter how old the other spouse was, when one turned 62, we paid nothing. All we paid was our, if we were in the city, or the county taxes.
You think that's a fair comparison, Pickens County and Cobb?
No, it's not.
It's not. We don't have the
I'm gonna tell you it's
It's not.
not, but what is being proposed up here is more, to my way of thinking, is fairer because it is based on either A, your income, it's gonna be based on either A, what your income is, or B, what your property value is. So in other words, if you can live in that $500,000 house, but you're only gonna get the maximum amount of value taken down for school taxes as somebody living in a $200,000.
That's only if that's the choice that they choose at the
Those are the
state
only
level.
choices the state
No, ma'am, I'm
legislature.
telling you, the state can choose whatever they want. They've
But
done
right
it
now,
before.
that is what the state legislature is saying to Pickens County is, these are what we are going to allow you to do at this point in time.
And Lee, I have a question.
yes, sir.
If it's the income-based formula, then it's a pass-fail. You either get it or you don't, is that
Right.
correct? Whereas if it's the 100,000 or 40,000, whatever it is off the value, then it's a little bit more of a sliding scale.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I mean,
I just wanted to be sure I was
that's
clear
like
on
my
that.
chart shows, you know, there's these, I go all the way up to $400,000. It's, it's $100,000 off the assessed value. You're only getting a partial, tax exemption. It's not 100% tax exemption. You know, I try to make people understand that. If we're not getting 100% for every senior in this county. It's only partial.
There are a lot of homes, for example, in Big Canoe, did a pretty good survey of the home values and the residents there. Over half of those folks are out of the county in terms
Oh,
of
yeah,
primary
there's-
residents, so they're not eligible.
Lori was just telling me, she lives in a condominium complex in a Big Canoe, and she says 80% of those people are part-time residents, and they won't be eligible for it.
Right.
And there's close to 100 in Bit Tree, or maybe more, I'm told, of people that won't be eligible. So the 2,902 homes that I got from the Census Bureau owned by people age 65 and over, it's gonna be minor. It'll be less than 2,000 that takes advantage of the tax exemption.
I think what we're, and I understand where she's coming from, because she's looking out for the students, and I, you know what?
Agreed.
We gotta look out for our kids, because if we don't, we're all gonna be.
You also gotta look out for
They're
your
not gonna
seniors.
look out for us. But
Well, you
here's
know our
the
son.
other- here's the other thing, is if you don't have, if you have all the older people move out of this county, or don't look to move into this county, to bring money into this county, to go to the stores, to shop,
Yeah.
to do those kind of things. If everybody you bring into this county has kids, you're gonna have to build more schools, you're gonna have to hire more people.
And you won't have the
You're gonna have to-
taxes to do it.
And so, I think what we're trying to do here is come up with a balance. How do we get our seniors in Pickens County to stay, or to even look at Pickens County as a place to retire to, versus what is the best for the youth and the kids in our school system? And I don't think it's a,
Either
it
or.
has to be this way, or it has to be that
Right.
way. You know, how Cobb ever did it, I don't know. They must have passed that thing
long time ago.
They're twice the size of us in land mass as well
I know,
as
but.
10 times the size in
But
population.
it doesn't
Very
matter.
easy for that to be done.
Well, no, because
10
you're
times the
talking.
size
Yes,
of
ma'am,
school.
it is.
We lived in a neighborhood that
Can't
was
compare it.
40, about 40 years old, and you had a lot of original residents, and they were in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and they were not moving because they didn't want to lose that tax break, and they would have liked to have gone somewhere else, but they were staying there. So Cobb must have done it a long, long time ago.
They also have industry though. I mean, if you look at Pickens County in relation to Cobb and Cherokee, you can't compare them. We have absolutely no malls. We have no industry.
And why is that?
Well, I mean,
There's nobody wanting to move.
The reason we don't have any industry has nothing, listen, let me explain something to you. The reason we don't have any industry whatsoever in Pickens County is because, one, we don't have a water system or a sewer system to support that sort of thing.
Yeah, I hear
That's
that all
not
the
here.
time,
So,
but nobody's doing anything
you're
about
not
it.
gonna be able to unless you build a lake. That's not gonna happen. There's not a
Nobody's doing
major
anything
water
about it.
source in this county. It's not gonna be done, it can't be done. You're gonna have to build
It
homes.
can be done.
It
It's
can.
chosen not to be
Yes,
addressed.
exactly.
There's
My
more
word.
than one site in this county that was sustained and has been offered tax-free.
I'm just saying, you know, that's why it's not here.
But that's a good example
They
of
don't do anything about it.
whether, if you don't look down the road and try and find that solution that's the middle of the road, then you wind
This
up
is
with
a
no
start.
water reservoir, no industry coming, and seniors leaving, and our young people leaving as well. Because the day that most of them graduate, they're headed south.
Yeah.
but we should be looking at changing those things. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's the
That's
biggest
what we're
problem.
trying to do.
And it's
That's
a
what we're
much-
trying to
and
do.
it's a much larger
I don't think a
picture.
senior tax exemption is gonna get water and sewer put in the county, you know, it's a sufficient
No.
system.
We don't know that.
You're kinda talking about apples and oranges.
Yeah.
I worked for Cherokee County Water and Sewer for 31 years.
I understand.
I was there when the sewer system was put in place. I know what I'm talking about. Been there a
I'm
long
not denying
time,
that you
so.
know what you're talking about, sir. But that would be a good example of you would be somebody that should be, maybe your opinion after 31 years in a major water system, maybe somebody up here should ask your opinion when they didn't build a reservoir. That's what I'm saying.
I hear
We
you.
have
I
talent
hear you.
untapped in this county
I hear
every day, and there's no reason for it, other than this is the way we've always done.
And Melody brought up point two about, the seniors leaving and just young people and the schools going. DeKalb County ran into that. Same thing. They had no senior tax exemption. Seniors were leaving in droves. Younger people moved in. It overwhelmed the school system. And they decided to pass a senior tax exemption to keep seniors in there and to bring others in. Because they were just overwhelmed. They couldn't build more schools, didn't have money. There's too many kids because young people were taking the place of the older people.
Well, did it take as long? Did it take the same kind of
No,
process if we put it on a straw
the school
roll?
board
Then we
worked
take
on
a
it.
look at it and then we, you know, and
The
then we,
school board worked on it diligently because they saw what was happening.
well, then why is this taking so long?
Well, I can tell you why it's taking so long. I sat on the school board for 4 years and I saw how we pinched the budget. I mean, people think we blow money, but I hate to tell you, we don't. Our school board, and I'm gonna tell you, yes, I got voted out because there was somebody that came in behind me and people liked them better. You know what? I can't complain about the board we have now with 4 people. They are doing a good job. They are people who care about our county. You can't discredit them. They know what it takes. I'm telling y'all, I beg you to please get involved and understand the school budget because I don't think you fully understand it. We have people that are we're not looking at everything. We have to look at everything. And we should, if you really, really want this, we should be looking at what it takes to support the school system so that you don't have to pay
I've
taxes.
invited the school board, they just choose.
But you have not presented one thing except how you don't want to pay taxes. So if you don't want to pay them, we need a plan for how to come up with that money someplace else.
That's what this committee is going to do. And it will, and to me, what I hear from you and others like you is, my taxes are gonna go up, so I'm gonna have to.
I haven't said one word.
I mean, that's what I hear.
I hear you, but that's your closed-mindedness.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, ma'am. I have not said one word about complaining about my taxes. I'll tell you, I pay my taxes and I pay my social security.
So why do
You're
you-
collecting it, I'm never
Why
gonna
do you
collect
think it's
it.
gonna hurt the school system? It's not gonna hurt the school.
Because
The
we,
school system
okay,
will get
there's
their
a
money.
cap, there's a cap on the millage, first off.
20.
If this ends up costing more than you are saying it is, which I'm going to tell you, it is going to cost more than what you are saying, then yes, ma'am, it will. Every house in the county we have way more houses that are worth more than $150,000.
But they're not owned by people 65 and older.
Yes, many of them are.
There's only,
You know,
the Census Bureau
it's
says there's
really
only
discouraging.
2,902
It is very discouraging to me, first off, that you talk over me.
This lady's going nuts.
So that's fine, guys. So I'm asking some legitimate questions, but because I have a differing opinion, we don't want to hear it.
Okay, go ahead.
The rumors going around that they're going to have to replace the old high school with a new school. That's where the taxes, the board's.
No, ma'am, it's not. We're
Yes,
not building a new school. There is no plan to build a new
No,
school.
stop. This is ridiculous.
It is.
We all want to take care of our kids, okay? But we also have to take care of our senior citizens in this county. And I'm sorry, you are young enough that if something happens to your job, you can go find another job.
Amen.
You can save your money for all these years and invest it to retire, and something, God forbid, unforeseen happens, and somebody gets sick, or something like that happens, and you have absolutely no
I
chance.
understand that.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Somebody your age does
You
not
do not
understand.
understand
You do
it.
not.
You can
You
still
have
go
no
to
earthly
job.
idea what my circumstances are. Absolutely none.
You don't know.
You don't have any idea what our circumstances is like.
Okay.
We don't want to fix that problem.
I do too. I most certainly do.
You can work and get a bigger paycheck. You're young. We're not. We don't.
Ma'am, I want to tell you, I run a nonprofit for teenagers. And guess what? It's supported by individuals, and I don't make a fortune because I give away a lot of my time.
But I wish I could be here when you get our age and I can say I told you so.
Okay.
You can still work.
I have never said that we shouldn't support our seniors.
Sounds like
Smell the pig.
opposite. Go ahead, sir.
I taught at school for 28 years. I taught in Florida for a number of years. Back in the 70s, when we didn't have any money, I had as many as 50 kids in the classroom at one time. Some of them had to sit on the floor. We had to share books. And you know, we were able to teach those kids. They graduated from high school and they got in college and went to college. We had no air conditioning in those days. We got along. I was in an old two-story building that was condemned, had asbestos in it. They would come in and put up sheets of visqueen to remove the asbestos, and we got along. So you can't tell me that the schools can't cut.
They can. I mean, when you saw my figures, and these is available to anybody, it went from 42 million to 45 million. They didn't raise their taxes, the state gave it to them. Money is out there and available for schools. They're gonna get their money.
That's not how it's funded though. You don't understand how it's funded.
I had 5 kids I sent to school. I'm 80 years old, and I don't want to send your kids to school. I'm tired of sending kids.
Yeah, amen.
Doing there at the back.
Who else?
The only thing I was gonna mention, the gentleman was talking about teaching in the 70s versus today, look at your standards and look at what's required to be in the classroom. You can't make that comparison, I'm sorry, it just can't be done. You have a good point, and I respect you fully. Let me make one thing clear. I respect everyone in this room. You're my elders, and I respect you, I do. And certainly want to make sure that each one of you are taken care of the way that you should be. I agree with that. I don't necessarily agree with this plan, don't necessarily agree with the process and the things that are happening to make it go about. But let me say this, and this question is by no means meant to antagonize. It's just for my personal information. It's the only thing I'm asking. So how many folks was born and raised here in Pickens County in the room?
I was born.
Thank you. That's the only question I had. Just for my information only. You know, nothing more than that. But let me say this as well. Again, let me give you my personal situation. My dad recently passed about 2 years ago. My mother I knew could not afford. And I'm probably the most conservative person in the room. That's why I didn't raise my hand and said that I'm a Republican, because I do not pay that. I don't pay membership in the Republican Party. And probably won't. But I want you to understand this. The fact of the matter is, I told Mom, I said, sell your house, move in with me. You know, sell your house, move in with me. We've done away with everything. I was conservative enough to take care of my own mom and dad. But I realize that I'm able to do that. And I realize a lot of folks are not. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm looking at my own personal situation. I appreciate each one of you here. I appreciate y'all moving to Pickens County. So don't misunderstand my intentions. It was just to satisfy my curiosity. Basically is all it was.
Okay, I want to read I guess call it testimony, but it's an email from a person, gave me permission to read it. I'm 77 years old and have been working since I was 26 years old after serving in the U.S. Army and graduated from the University of Georgia. I am single with no children or grandchildren and have been paying school taxes for over 50 years. I feel that I need to have some kind of break with the school taxes since I am now retired from the state after working with them for 21 years. I have attended 2 of the last tax meetings, which now increased my property and school taxes. I am fed up with the commissioners and the state representatives who are supposed to be working for the voters who elected them to the positions. This school tax is a very sore subject to me, and hopefully the Pickens Seniors for Change can help us persuade the right officials to give us all a break. Now this one is from Melinda Turner. I'm going to read it and then ask her to say anything if she wants to. My husband and I are senior citizens and have lived in Pickens for 5.5 years. We're in our 70s. We lived in Walton County prior to moving here, where at age 65 we were exempt from paying school taxes. I respectfully submit that counties right around us, all around us here, are exempt, and why is it that here in Pickens County we are expected to pay them even though we have no minor children who are dependent on us and living in our home? This seems like a real hardship on seniors who live on fixed income, which has not had a cost of living increase for a number of years, and have paid school taxes even after our own children left the school system many, many years ago, to be expected to continue paying these taxes. I want my name added to the petition being circulated, which would put tax exemptions from paying school taxes for seniors on a ballot to be voted on in Pickens County. Melinda, is there anything you want to say?
Well, I don't know. I didn't know we were going to have a war here tonight. This is our first meeting. But I will say that we did come from Walton County, and I misquoted when I said 5.5 years. We've loved it so much here, it seems like 5.5 years. It's actually 7 years since we moved here. But we were exempt in Walton County. That's one question we never planned to ask before we moved here, but it's very difficult being a senior citizen sometimes. My husband and I were self-employed. He's a blacksmith by trade. That means he shod horses for a living. And 3 years ago, he was hit from behind by a man who was texting and driving in Tennessee where he worked. And he was laid up for about a month or so. All the skin and tissue was burned off his arm by the airbag. His back and his neck were all messed up. But he decided that he'd go back to work, even though he was well into his 70s at that time. He went back to work for a friend in Tennessee managing a horse training facility up there. 3 months after the car or truck accident, he had a serious heart attack. They brought him back twice to save his life. He was airlifted to Vanderbilt University Hospital in Tennessee. We always thought that we were doing pretty well. Both of us worked in the training and horse business. It's hard work, really cold in the winter, very hot in the summer. We had a lot of customers that we had to make happy, whether the horses were really that great or not. You had to try to keep your customers happy. We worked hard all through the years we've been married. Like my husband just said a little while ago, we've raised 5 kids, sent them to school, and we don't want to pay other people's kids' taxes if we can help it. We have nothing against children, we have nothing against teachers. In fact, I have a couple in my own family, kids that have grown up to be teachers. So I have no problem at all with teachers. But anybody who said, whoever said that aging is not for sissies, I don't know who coined that phrase, but I wish I had, because it's so good. But it is. It's hard sometimes to be a senior citizen. Some people are way better off than others. Other ones, life happens. That's what happened to us. We thought we were in pretty good shape. It was a health situation we had no control over that's put us in a situation where we need to have the tax exemption. And I'm not only speaking for us, I'm speaking for I don't know how many thousands of other people. You think you're doing well through your life, you work hard, you pay school taxes for 50+ years, only to have your own life take some bad turns and fall apart. You need help from your county. I don't know that we would have moved here if we had realized there was no exemption, because we had one in Walton County. I don't know if we would have moved here if we'd known the difference, but we planned. Huh?
You want me to answer that?
No. Stay out of my little talk. Anyway, I think we're here for the long haul. I just wanted to say for everybody that I hope I'm speaking for a lot of people here. I know that a lot of you have a very difficult time, and many times it's not any fault of what any of us have done. It's just the hand that life sometimes deals out to you, that you just have to live with it the best you can. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you. And I think that's the problems we all elder people face. You think you planned, oh, we can live on this just fine, and you get up there and find out everything's gone sky high, and you're on a fixed income, and you have no probabilities of increasing that income. Young working people do. They can increase their income as time goes by. We don't. Our income is not increased. I want to read one more of these testimonials, the emails from people, and then we'll call it quits unless other people's got questions and want to say anything. It says, hello, I have kept your email address since reading your section in the Pickens Progress months ago. I was so happy to see your opinion on the tax matter with seniors in this county. No, I am not a senior, but my parents are. My husband and I have been angered after researching and finding out about the millions of dollars owed in back taxes in this county. We both work and pay our taxes on time. I was appalled after looking on the tax records at the dozens of businesses in this county that owe back taxes. We even printed 8 tax bills of businesses that owe back taxes and met with Commissioner Jones about this matter. When he looked at the bills, he asked, what is this? We said these are only a few of the still operating businesses in this county that owe taxes. He shook his head in disbelief and asked if Sharon Troglin, tax commissioner at the time, knew about this. My reply was yes, if they are not getting collected and business licenses are still getting issued. Our suggestion was to stop issuing business licenses until taxes are paid. We also suggested seizing personal property to auction to help make up for this debt. A business near my home owes over $10,000 in business taxes dating back to 2009 and continues to operate every day. Nothing is getting done to collect these funds, and in my opinion, we will never see it. If these funds are collected, maybe we could cut taxes for seniors. It is absolutely ridiculous. I have gone to numerous commissioner meetings, especially around the time when the tax increase was put into place. Still, nothing was done on our suggestions to collect the back taxes. I just wanted you to know I appreciate your work in helping our seniors. If I can ever assist in helping toward this matter, I would be glad to. I'm looking forward to hearing from a fellow taxpayer. And that's another problem that's going on in this county. My website directs you to another website. You can go in the county to see who owes a lot of taxes, back taxes. Businesses that don't pay their sales tax and their business tax, but they're still allowed to operate. And some of the people in this county are behind years on their property taxes, and they're allowed to pay it off a little bit at a time when they have it. I've got a chart made of all the people that owes all these back taxes, and you'd be surprised at some of the names.
Why don't you put that on your website?
I don't want to embarrass anybody.
Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, if they're not willing to pay their taxes, they should be
But
embarrassed.
no, my point is, nothing gets done about it, and they're allowed to live in their house. By Georgia law, you can foreclose on a property a year and a day if they don't pay their taxes by then. But they're not foreclosed on. They're the good old boys, so they are allowed to pay their taxes whenever they can, or want to.
But that's not what we get told.
No,
I went and.
they'll take our
I
homes.
just pay a part of mine at one point. No, I had to have it all. You know, you
Yeah.
have to pay it in full or they pay you.
Because you're not part of that good old boy regime.
Right, and I will never be.
But if we don't stand up to that, it'll continue to
That's just
happen.
one of the problems going on in this county. If we got a seniors a tax exemption and force these people to do what is right because they need the money, that's a step forward.
And because they would like to do
Yeah.
something for the county, period, not just for them. I would just love to see somebody get voted in that would actually want to do something for us. They are a part
You
of
got a
us.
chance. There's two people running against Jerry, what, Barnes? Yeah, there's two people running
If they're in
against
there,
him.
they're out. Okay.
So, you know,
Sorry.
that's your chance to get him out of office.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I don't think, just an observation, that it's kind of like I used to tell my son, when he thought the whole world was a mess and he was just miserable, I'd say, just change one thing, that's all you have to do.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, but it may
Baby
not.
steps,
wait a
baby
minute.
steps.
It may not be about the taxes, it may be about creating something that draws people to Pickens County.
By getting rid of the commissioners.
You know, because you need more people in order to make the system work.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do some things, start something, anything.
Exactly.
Am I the only person in this room that thinks that we got here today overnight?
Yeah.
No.
I've been working on
This has
this
been a
for
long
3
process.
years. 3 years.
That nothing has changed, a lot of things have not changed, that we've come to the point we are today.
Right, but we're getting there.
It's not gonna be no quick fix.
No, it's not. But you gotta do one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Get new commissioners, get a senior tax exemption. Get that train depot going to take tourists up to the mountains. Do something,
Ms. Marie?
Marie.
Well, I don't feel we've moved very far. I mean, all of a sudden now, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are supposed to get together and have these commissions and have this study. You've been working on this for 3 years. Where's the Republican and the Democratic Party been for the last 3 years?
It took a baseball bat, hit some of these people upside the head.
I just feel like it's not going anywhere.
Well,
It is. You just don't think it is, but it is.
Now we don't get any choices. We get either do nothing or the Republican and the Democratic Party get together. It reminds me of Congress having a committee.
well,
So how do
as
we
a
get
current,
out, how do we get the word out that we need people to come out and vote, not to leave it as it is, but to vote for the change? That's our biggest hurdle now, right? Because that's the May vote. So what's the plan to get this out in front of everybody and say, look, these are why we think it's, why we think it's good, what are we doing to get this to pass, to get the portion passed that we were hoping to get passed?
And to let them know which one they need to check.
Well, on my part, it'd be my members. It'll be on my members and advertising in the paper, and I don't know what Will's done there.
Well, and from our standpoint, first I'd like to clarify, as the current chairman of the Republican Party, in my first year, I'll be chairman until March of 2019, and I've already been told by some people who are from the county that they'll be at that, and I'll make sure that I'm no longer chairman. But, so be it. As I said, I'm not endorsing any particular plan, but I am for a group of citizens being able to address issues with their county. To answer how we got to this point, Lee and her group started talking to the commissioners, the tax office, that type of thing. They had the option, the commissioners that are in office today had the option to sit down, work through this, and they could have written up, they could have formed committees, they could have asked citizens to come in. They chose not to. When Lee actually spoke with Senator Gooch, he understood the state constitution well enough to inform her that she had another option, which was to reach out to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and for us to put it on a straw poll and move it forward.
And that was just a year ago. So.
But the straw poll is leave it as it is, or have a Republican and Democratic Party to get together and decide. It's not to make any actual decision.
No, that's misleading.
No, the wording of it is, and this is based on the Georgia state constitution, in order to move it beyond the straw poll, you can't write the bill and have it on a straw poll question. A straw poll question is a summary of the direction that voters wish to go in. Either stay with what there is or move in a new direction. The straw poll is structured for that. And then for the two parties, since we're the one putting the straw poll out, not the commissioners of Pickens County, that we will put together the committee of citizens, property owners, school board, county people, tax assessor's office will be represented, and that way we bring a large group to the table. How many of you go to a Baptist church? How many of you go to a Methodist church? How many of you go to a Presbyterian church? How many of you don't go to church? Every one of us has a sphere of influence. We have people that we know. And to answer your question back there, ma'am, that's how you get this out.
It's so misleading. Those committees are to hear our points of view in order to draft the legislation. And they can go by what my legislation is. The tax proposal that I've written up, they can go by that.
But is that the legislation that's going to come out this year, or is it going to come out in 3 years?
It's hopefully November.
I mean, these committees can go forever. I mean,
now, if you read the straw poll question, we indicated that our goal, the Democrat and Republican Party, is if citizens request that we move in the direction, we will form committees to have a bill to drop. We'll have legislation to submit for the 2019 legislative session.
Yes.
But we also have all the Democrats come out and vote against it.
Well, what?
So
we're a red county, so I don't think there's much chance
well, I
left.
mean, we want that risk that is there.
That's why we
January
have
of
to get out.
2019 is the opening day, and there's 40 days in the session. So
So that's when we would have to have all of the research.
we would work to have the legislation drafted completely, that every citizen in the county could read over. If they want to support it, go talk to your state reps, talk to your state senators, and then as it moves through the committees at the Capitol, you have ethics committees, you have finance committees, you have higher education committees. All those committees have normally 3 to 5 either representatives or senators on those. And I'm also on the Board of Elections here in Pickens County to make sure that y'all all have a place to go vote and your vote counts. And I'm very proud to have been appointed to that by the judges in the county. But I spent a day at the Capitol 3 weeks ago because a certain group of legislators wanted to put in a new paper ballot system for the state of Georgia and have it ready for the 2020 presidential election cycle. Out of 159 counties, 120 were represented at the state capitol all day to to let the legislators know that was way too soon. They tested it in 2 counties. 2 counties out of 159 is not even a sampling. So it takes time to go, and you have to invest if you believe in something, whichever side of the issue you're on. If you want it to resolve, and you gotta be in for the long haul. And I hope that's what we as a community, whatever we decide as a community, that we follow through at the Capitol, and it comes back the way that we all want, or as close as we can get it.
I know it seems like a long time because I've been working on it for so long, but actually things didn't start hopping until this time last year.
Well, and I can speak as a combat veteran. When I went in, it was to pay for college for that 6 years. I spent 14, and 11 of it was I was deployed in combat zones. That wasn't my plan. And I came home with 2 artificial shoulders, artificial knee. But I'm not 100% disabled. So I own property in Gilmer County, I own property in Athens, and I own property in Pickens. I chose to move to Pickens County. Because when I looked at the school systems in Gilmer, my daughter was not going to school there. I'm proud to say she was salutatorian of her class in 2011 at Pickens County High School. We're blessed to have good educators. But we also have a lot of seniors. So it's, like I said, the solution is somewhere in the middle. So,
When that plan comes into effect, don't we have to does it have to be one of our legislators that sponsor that bill, or can it be any legislator across the board?
it can actually be any representative, and it can be any senator. A good example is the Common Core opt-out. It was actually done at the state level by William Liggett, the state senator. He actually dropped the legislation, and 2 people in this county, Meg Norris, who's an educator, and another mother of children, actually, they're the ones who drafted the legislation. They walked in, never worked in a legislative structure before, and they got that thing passed. So if you're willing to invest the time and do it right, you can make change.
Baby steps, slow baby steps. We're getting there. We just have to be patient. And vote.
Yeah, please.
Vote.
Get out and vote.
If there's people here that aren't registered, or if you know somebody that's not registered, here's some ballots. I mean, some voter registration. Fill it out, sign it. It's got its own envelope.
Well, seeing as how this is going to get passed tomorrow, and have you looked at numbers between like ages 60 to 65 that would change the numbers a little bit?
I'm sorry, what now?
The age group between 60 and 65, seems how this is going to be passed tomorrow, and nobody's going to have a chance to age up, but how much difference would, say, adding 5
the difference, I hadn't figured it under 65, between those 2. Some counties have it starts at age 62, some have it start at age 65.
Yeah. Well, we know it's not going to be passed tomorrow.
Oh, no.
So I'm asking if you added the numbers from, say, 60 to 65 within your totals, because it's going to take 2 years at least.
Actually, on some of the stuff we got back from the Democratic Party, they actually did a very good job of running numbers on the cost of living adjustment, as well as the future recipients of a tax exemption. So those numbers, you know, they've started to be run. And will be presented to the committees in full disclosure, and work through it and take feedback.
Well, the thing that I would say, I don't want to disrespect our seniors. I have parents and grandparents. I actually took care of my grandmother when she died. And it's not about you guys not having a tax exemption. So don't misunderstand me. But I clearly know where we are with the school budgets. And I'm looking at your numbers and they're not accurate. And what I am saying is that younger people, I mean, like I look at that and my first inclination is we can't just try it out to see how it works, because it could demolish the school system.
Well, then
So we need to know what the real numbers are.
Wait, there's no way to know the real numbers.
But there is.
No, there's
Everybody
not.
you can't say there's no way. They have everything written down at at the office. They know exactly what everybody pays. It would be
But
easy
you
to
don't
figure out how
know
old
ages.
people are.
There's no ages on that data.
Well, they could find it out.
I've tried, believe me, I've tried.
Because it's gonna cost us a lot more than what you're saying. And that's my
I don't
concern, and
think
we have
we will.
no, I'm saying we need to look bigger than this, and I'm saying if we're gonna do this, we need to find a way to make it feasible so that it doesn't kill our school system.
That's why I put the sunset clause in there.
Portland don't have.
In 5 years of struggling in the school system, the
don't
sunset
know
clause
that.
isn't gonna matter.
You
Yes,
don't
I
know
do.
that. You
I
don't
looked
know
at
that.
Gilmer County, and I'm telling you, you don't
You
wanna put your
can't
daughter in
pay.
Gilmer County. You know why? Because they are terrible. And it's
Because
because
they did
don't
not have a
the money to make
sunset
it
clause
work.
built in.
That was in 1997.
And they did not put a sunset clause in there, and they exempted everybody age 62 and over, it doesn't matter.
With no cap.
With no, it doesn't matter what your worth, you could have $1,000, $100,000 home or $1 million home. It exempted all of them. People, old people, elderly people, seniors, whatever you want to call us, started moving up there in droves. A lot of people moved from this county to Gilmer County because of it. They didn't put in safeguards. We are trying to put in safeguards. And we're not asking 100%. Only partial, some help. Now, will everybody sleep better tonight?
Consider I have to drive to Albany, Georgia tonight. I have a 9 a.m. meeting at a Mercedes dealership, so I want to again thank y'all all for coming out. And please, as the straw poll question gets published on Mary Lively's site, no picking now, please go on there.
In the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
If you want information today, go to Mary's site. If you want to wait till Thursday, get the progress.
I recommend Dorsey at a Holiday Inn.